Dark Souls 3. The moment where my beloved methodical bait and punish patience test combat came back from its gap year in Yarnum and became a coked up speedy slugfest that highly rewards aggression and reaction time. It's still good, mind you. I'm just bad at it. Whenever I wasn't a caster, I was always the good old sword and board, block the aggression and counterattack. They've never been particularly good at creating pressure in basically any combat game, and this game severely punishes that. As such, this is the Soulsborne game I am the worst at. So, expect deaths. Alright, died immediately. Welcome to Souls. I let my chat pick my starting class, and of course they decided on Deprived, a class that starts with no armor and bare minimum, completely flatly allocated stats, including all of the pointless ones. I'm not sure what kind of build I'll be going for yet, so I guess it's not all that bad to have the flexibility. I had hoped starting with the black firebombs would help deal with Gundyr, but the problem with consumables is that you really only get one shot with them, and by the time you're confident enough not to waste them, you can kinda just do the fight normally. That inexperience leads to me forgetting the cardinal rule of Dark Souls 3 combat: roll into the boss, not away. And I waste my starting gift on the first boss. Third time's the charm, though. Not this one. This one doesn't count. I didn't know my shield couldn't parry. And I end up at Firelink's Shrine. I grab some of the items around the area and try to test my mettle against this naked samurai guy and utter the 6 most important words you will ever utter in a Dark Souls game. Fuck that. I'll come back later. Off to the high wall. This is the ever-present shit ton of basic guys with firebombs section of the game, which gets your feet wet learning how to fight basic enemies and finding alternate paths to take to make the routes ahead safer by taking out the jump scare grenades before you have to actually deal with them. There's this bridge section where you can either go up top and have to deal with getting past a dragon guarding a door, or go down here and dealing with a mob of hollows. There's also the smart way, using the dragon to kill the hollows. And then there's what I did. Kill all of the mobs first and then go dragonward anyway. This suspiciously empty room TM contains a single treasure chest. I don't remember if they throw a mimic at you this early, but I think they might throw a mimic at you this early. Yeah, they throw a mimic at you this early. Yes, I definitely... Oh, I got eaten by a mimic. I'm dead. Good. I'm glad I'm allowed to die again, because I definitely didn't die multiple times while you were out. I just got rear-ended. After a few attempts at the mimic fail, I repeat the mantra of Soulsborne. Fuck that, I'll come back later. Gonna need some levels to not get immediately hurricane kicked to death by this Ryu mimic. After a quick skip across the rooftops, I end up in the courtyard with this winged knight, who isn't too hard to deal with if you've got room to roll behind him, but is hard to deal with whenever he pins you in this little gutter area and proceeds to absolutely popsicle you. Now, dying in Dark Souls is very common, but I would argue that you don't truly die in Dark Souls until you've died twice and failed to retrieve your bloodstain. Which is why this, being my first real death of the run so far, is so humiliating. That really didn't look that high. Honestly, I was robbed, but gravity continues to be the toughest boss in the series once again. With nothing left to lose, though, it enables the use of the Joestar secret technique of just fucking running past everything, and occasionally Goomba stomping this random hollow who wasn't quite prepared for me to be at this ladder yet. That last one damage from dunking him on the head killed him. I unlock the shortcut to Vort and begin once more the refined hurl my face at the boss until they get tired of killing me technique. Vort isn't too bad of a boss, but poorly timing your dodges in the second phase can just delete your health bar, which of course happens a few times before I finally send this frost puppy to a farm upstate and put an end to the first Dark Souls day of this episode. There's still plenty to do in Dark Souls 3, so another stream day dedicated to it is in order. I take our new spoils and go level up a bit, try my hand at the Naked Samurai again. It still doesn't go well. Then, I go rematch the Mimic, and that goes slightly better. Slightly. With that business out of the way, it's on to the Undead Settlement. This is a sprawling map with tons of side paths and rat backs and shortcuts, which means a lot of deaths due to stretching your resources thin trying to grab it all in one life. Along the way, we get a great machete from one of these big guys, which ends up being our go-to weapon for the entire rest of the run, all the way up until the final boss. We head towards this tower, which contains quite a few awesome characters, starting off with Sigurd, who can't quite figure out this elevator is actually 2 platforms, and just keeps going up and down between here and the basement. I show Sigurd the solution to this inscrutable lift, and come to this area with a big raging demon that I just don't want to fight right now. So I flee like a coward, go spend all of my souls, upgrade my new weapon of choice a bit, and go test it out against the Naked Samurai. And this time, actually succeed. Weapon upgrades go a long way in this game. Back to the tower, we go all the way up and say hi to the giant bro. Every single giant in the Souls series is just super chill. I love these guys. We'll see the effect of that conversation a little later, but first, I need to get jebaited by a premature from our Winnie the Pooh night and accidentally fall to my death. Take 3, I successfully get onto the ledge where the 2 of us manage to kill this random giant murder demon wandering through this ordinary village. Our work completed, Sigurd takes a seat, cracks open a cold one, and goes the fuck to sleep. What a legend. With this first half of the settlement cleared out, it's time to open up the boss door, and the fastest way to get to that is past this white birch tree. Take note of all of the arrows scattered around here embedded into the environment, and also take note that this guy is fucked. Oh! This is what we get for going to befriend the giant, safe passage to these trees, while everything else gets additional orifices forcibly added to their anatomy. Speaking of gross holes, Curse-Rotted Greatwood. This is a sort of puzzle boss, but he's not too much trouble once you not actually damage it. Just slap it in the nutsack until it dies. That's not even like a bit or anything, that's basically just how the fight goes. Yeah, this boss is gross. In general, I try not to play the same game for 3 straight days. So today, we're gonna take a break from Dark Souls and we're gonna dip into a new game, Link to the Past. No, that last one was the Link to the Past Super Metroid crossover randomizer. That's different. Although it does start pretty similarly, we have a familiar Kakariko loop where we discover this version's special sauce, Key Sanity. While in SMZ3 and a normal Link to the Past randomizer, dungeon keys are placed somewhere in that dungeon. For this run, those keys can be anywhere in the game. As such, some dungeons are going to need to be dipped into multiple times, like Hyrule Castle, where there's only enough guaranteed keys to do either the basement or the escape. I choose to do the basement, getting the big key to Eastern Palace and taking an actually legitimately intentional death warp for once. So, once again, Eastern Palace. We saw this a few episodes ago, but this time we can actually finish the whole thing due to having a lantern. This dark room here is the one that I didn't want to do, by the way. You can probably see why I didn't think this was really doable in total darkness without a sword. This one specific enemy has the key, and without being able to see where they went, and without a sword to clear the way past this wall of ropers. I just kind of didn't want to deal with that. But that means that we do get to see the boss here, Armos Knights. They just kind of jump around and wait to die. But there is a trick to them. Each knight takes 3 arrows to kill. But when there's only 1 knight left, he gets extra health and becomes harder to hit, since he spends more time in the air above your arrows. The trick is, shoot him twice while he's blue, then kill the rest of the knights, then it only takes 3 more to kill the red knight, instead of the 5 it would normally take in this phase. And you spend less time when he can dodge your arrows. Better runners than me can do this all in one fluid motion, where they shoot one of them twice and then kill all of the rest before they even finish this circle the wagons move, but I'm not too much slower than that here. There's a few more checks here that we couldn't do in SMZ3 due to having flippers. This whirlpool in Lake Hylia here takes us to the northern part of the map, where the waterfall of Wishing's rewards are just sitting here in chests without having to toss anything in. And King Zora offers to sell us some NFTs that are totally worth 500 rupees, trust me, bro. With those last checks, checked, that's all that's available in Link to the Past for now, but there's always stuff to do in RuneScape. Now that we have access to Lumbridge Farms, the first few quests in the game are open to us. And by first few quests, I mean the literal first 2 quests ever added to the game, Cook's Assistant and Sheep Shearer. These are just bald-face fetch quests they made to try to test out their new quest system. For Cook's Assistant, the Lumbridge Chef is missing ingredients for the Duke's birthday cake. So, quick excursion out to the farms to grab an egg, some milk, and mill some flour when you finish this quest. Now someday, that's gonna come back to bite us because this cake was actually part of an initiation ritual to a long line of chefs who keep the evil Culinarimancer in prison lest he take over the minds of leaders of worlds by way of their favorite foods, but that's a problem for later. For now, it's time to go visit Fred the farmer who wants us to spin 20 balls of wool from his sheep pen. This isn't too hard as long as we avoid the thing. The thing, of course, being 2 Russian penguin spies in a sheep suit to spy on humans try to discover the secret of flight so they can take over the world and wrest it from the tyranny of humanity, but that's another problem for later. For now, we punch cows to death for an hour.
Welcome to hell, motherfucker!
Doom was one of the games I was unsure of at first. How well could you really randomize Doom? The quintessential shoot them until they die video game? Yeah, there's keys and stuff, but this is probably just going to be one of those basically vanilla, but you have to stop once in a while games, right? Well, no. It turns out that Doom levels are all maze-like and well-designed enough that getting the keys out of order legitimately turns the maps into completely new experiences. And the addition of unlocking the levels themselves with the stage select screen makes it a very open-ended game that is definitely up there as one of the most transformative randomizer experiences that manages to capture the fun of the original while still being a wholly new way to play it. This particular implementation runs on Crispy Doom, which is a source port that aims more for accuracy than quality of life, and as such is missing some handy features from other forks like GZ Doom. Most notably, the inventory. Items you get sent from the multi-world just get collected and used up right away when you log in, which means that this is the single most over-prepared any single human being has ever been for E1M1 Hangar. Every major pickup on the map is replaced with a check, which means armor, weapons, keys, power-ups, large ammo boxes, and anything else that just seems kind of important. This means that ammo is somewhat scarce, armor is a myth, but health is plentiful. E1M2 and E1M6 get some cursory checks since I don't have the keys to do much in them, but we do get our first item for Landstalker, which we spend a while speculating with chat to try to figure out what kind of game it even is. I don't know how to say that, and I don't know what it is, but it's something for Landstalker. A game which I I honest to God don't even know what genre it is. I've literally never heard of Landstalker before it was added to Archipelago. That's everything we have in episode 1. Episode 2 starts to get a bit tougher because all we have is a shotgun and a dream, and there's no weapon pickups as we go. E2M5 ends up being an exercise in ammo conservation, since there's a myriad of barons and cacodemons that just absorb all of our starting bullets and refuse to die. We collect another Landstalker item, keep speculating what kind of game it is. Sword of Gaia. I'm gonna guess based off of that name that Landstalker is an RPG. Turns out, this is the best sword in the game. You might think that's going to make Landstalker a breeze when we finally get to it, but, well, we'll get to that. Now, it's been a while since I played the OG Dooms, and I had completely forgotten about the gimmick on episode 3. E3M1 is a pretty short level here, but it's got some really nasty tricks in it, like this bridge that only gives you one chance to get through before it falls away forever, or this suspiciously generous room TM that has a shit ton of ammo and health and power-ups, and then the level is over? I did miss a check that I had to go back through and push every wall until I eventually found it, and I'm glad I did this because it turned out to be an absolutely vital item. Yep, the minimap can't lie. Hook shot, that was absolutely necessary. Oh my god. Up next, we play E3M9, which is the exact same level? Or is it? For those of you familiar with Mario Maker, this is what we call a twice-twice. The level that is basically the same, but subtly off, to throw you off by playing on what you've already learned how to do and flipping the script. Like how there's a Baron up here instead of just a few imps. Unfortunately, I don't have the key for this map, so I can't experience the full twice-twice nature of this level until later. We'll come back to it, don't worry. E3M6 is a slog. There's a ton of demons here, and I just don't have the ammo for it. Dying respawns all the enemies in the current level, so we end up having to do the start of this level a lot. Eventually, I figure out where all the triggers are to open all the monster closets and clear out what items I can and bounce. So, E3M8 Dis is the final level, and it has no keys. We can technically beat it, but I am not fighting the Spider Mastermind with a shotgun and no armor, so instead we just solid snake across the map, grab all of the items, and switch over to Doom 2. Now, Doom 2 is more of the same, but the level select screen isn't as cool because Doom 2 didn't have this cool world map section between levels, and the default options for this one randomizes the enemy locations as well, so you'll be seeing a lot of out-of-place Hell Knights, Archviles, and Twitter users. I remember the power-up situation from last time and go to the latest level I have unlocked first, and power through a couple of enemies while I still have some armor and invuln left. Our arsenal is significantly improved over Doom 1, but everybody knows there's only one real weapon in this game, the Super Shotty. At least while its ammo lasts. There's not too much time left in the day, so we just full clear map 01 before calling it a day. It's been long enough. Let's go kill some Lords of Cinder. Emphasis on the plural, but not for the reasons you think. Today's target is just one boss, the Abyss Watchers. I'd take a look at all the new stuff we found, conclude none of it is as good as Big Bonk Knife, and set out towards the Road of Sacrifices. Side tangent, but this is the fucking loudest area in all of Soulsborne. Just listen to these guys. As long as you're fast and you don't let them transform, these bird guys are really only dangerous to your speakers, so just charge on through and take them out straight away. After this is the Crucifixion Woods, which contains a bunch of fairly easy to dodge enemies that do stupid amounts of damage if they ever manage to land a hit. This guy here does exactly as much damage as you'd expect a guy wielding an entire fucking tree to deal. Pretty much everything here annihilates me. Since I've been putting points into the levels needed to actually equip things, I haven't really been investing at all into, surviving. Crystal Sage is easy enough to do though. Just smack the purple one, and if you've been upgrading your weapon at all, he should die before you do. It is now time that I introduce you to the real boss of the area, these crabs. The water here will slow you down and make the Joestar secret technique non-viable, and again, they do exactly as much damage as you'd expect a crab the size of a Buick to deal. There's a good bit of items in the area that I would very much like to clear them out. The problem is, if you don't kill the crabs fast enough... What? 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 He just fucked off! Killing them is not really an option, so I try some precise movement to get past them, and then get one shot by a different enemy. This Black Knight.
Alright, Rick, let's dance. Oh, fuck.
I cannot stress enough just how completely outclassed I am here. And I really don't even know why. This is the next area that you're supposed to go after the Undead Settlement. I'm just bad at this one. I don't know. Quick stint back to Firelink to spend some upgrades, and it's off to the requisite Miyazaki Poison Swamp. As far as Soulsborne Poison Swamps go, this one's pretty middle of the road. It's not particularly large, and it's generous with the bonfires, but on the other hand, fuck these shaman guys. There's like 10 of them in this spot. How the hell is that even remotely fair? Oh, and to get all the checks here, we have to deal with more crabs. These ones aren't as bad, though. We have help. Once all the signal fires are out and the door is open, we're presented with one of my favorite bits of environmental storytelling in the series, and it starts outside the boss door. These dark wraiths are slowly pushing their way towards the Abyss Watchers. They know the Abyss is spreading here, and they want to claim the Watchers for their own. And these grooves are the last line of defense. And also me, but as we mentioned, I'm quite bad at this. You don't have to fight these guys, so instead, we start the Abyss Watchers proper. Now this I like. You walk in on the Abyss Watchers fighting each other before the last one standing turns on you, almost angry that you interrupted him. A bit into the fight, another Abyss Watcher wakes up and joins the fight. Classic FromSoft gank boss. Until a third Watcher wakes up and fights the other two. This fight is a chaotic brawl. Everything is fighting everything. These guys are actively fighting back the corruption of the Abyss, but you need to put them all down for good. When you take down the main Watcher, he draws in the power of the entire Legion, rekindling his ember and challenging you one-on-one at full strength. I managed to get into this phase on my first attempt, but can't quite close it out. It'll be a while before I get that far again. At one point, I finally realized that I have Estus shards and undead bone shards to go and upgrade my healing flask, which would be pretty nifty. I think that limited diversion made me lose my focus because immediately after that, this happens.
God fucking damn it! Where did he come from? I panicked. Oh my. Oh! God damn it. Lost it all. 20,000 souls.
At this point, I officially have nothing left to lose, but we're still an hour away from the end of the stream, so cue music.
So yeah. Actually, I'm blind shark. What? Where is he? My game broken? What the fuck? He's just not here. What? What? Are any of the other ones waking up? He's just fucking gone. Can't leave. What? No. Music is playing. I guess I have the bow now? Did they just get bored of fucking killing me and fuck off? Like, it's a goddamn crab. It's a crab all over again.
Yeah, I legitimately have no clue what happened here. My game crashed shortly after this, so I can only assume this is just a slow motion crash. But I think the shock from such an absolutely wild glitch and the time it took to reboot the game gave me a mental refresh that I needed to lock the fuck in because my next attempt...
Kindly fuck off. Your red eyes. Busy for a sec, I gotta heal. Phase 2. Got him! Fuck yeah! Oh! 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 You know what? That momentary break that it took to reboot the game, I think got me dialed back in. Oh. Man. And the items I got were completely worthless. But this is one of the bosses that's required for completion, so I don't care that the items were worthless. There was no way I was going to avoid dealing with that fight. I'm gonna spend these souls, and then I'm gonna call it, because I should have ended an hour ago. Holy shit, it finally happened. that was...
Well. Then touch take nothing.
That was a fight. I could see through time. I was so dialed in on that.
Farewell, Ashen One. May the
Hey.
Triumphant, exhausted, and an hour after my scheduled end time, I can finally call it a day. And a week. And an episode. It's gonna be quite a while before we revisit Lothric, but tune in next week for the only game in the run even more ball-bustingly difficult than a Souls game, the Finnish pain simulator known only as Noita. I will see you next time, but until then I will leave you all with this life advice. Sometimes you just really, truly do just need to get good. Good night, everybody!